I thought Golden Demon was going to blow me away. Like properly stand there for 10-15 minutes gazing into a model and question my entire existence and skill levels kind of blow me away. But standing there, looking into cabinet after cabinet of the best painted miniatures in the entire world, I had an odd realization. I didn't actually connect with most of it, and it made me feel a little bit empty, to be honest. Maybe it's because I know that I can't compete at this level, but would I even want to? Maybe I simply just don't get it and it goes way over my head because I'm a grimdark simpleton. But either way, it left a somewhat strange taste in my mouth, and ever since, this has been something I've been wanting to talk about. So I've just come back from the long journey from Australia to the United States for AdeptiCon. This was my first major event since the 90s and the second only time that I've been able to see the Golden Demon competition up close. Not through Instagram, TikTok, or any other social media, not through beautifully lit White Dwarf articles either, but right there in person. And look, before I say anything else, I want to make this very clear. The level of skill on display in Golden Demon present day is utterly ridiculous. Hundreds of hours put into each of these miniatures. That is flipping bonkers. Unbelievable talent on display throughout. Flawlessly smooth, layer upon layer of beautiful blending, perfect brush control, OSL that's based on real-world physics, non-metallic metal that looks more real than any actual metal in our world, amazing vivid color palettes. These are some of the best miniature painters in the world, no question. Unbelievable talent. But the longer I stared into these cabinets, searching for something, I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but something started to feel off. And I don't mean bad off, just the same. When I say the same, I don't mean that every model literally looks identical to the next, but there is a very clear style that everything seems to be converging towards. And to my tired old eyes, many of these miniatures could in fact be painted by the same couple of people. And after a while, it stops feeling like an art exhibition. And it starts feeling like everyone involved in Golden Demon is trying to solve the same technical riddle. And for me at least, it didn't evoke much feeling. And this is where I need to be really clear again, not to offend anyone here. This is not a criticism of the painters at all. If anything, it's the opposite. To paint at this level, you have to be unbelievably skilled and dedicate so much time to this craft. But that's kind of my point. It feels to me like the competition is rewarding a very specific definition of perfect. And I think what I was really seeing was the difference between painting for judges and painting for expression. Because these days, if you're entering Golden Demon, you're not just painting what you feel. You're painting something that will stand out under harsh light in a cabinet, read clearly from a distance, demonstrate technical mastery, and tick very specific boxes. And naturally, what seems to happen over time is that people figure out what wins. And I think if we go back to the 90s with Golden Demon and compare it to today, there was a hell of a lot more variation back then, and I really do feel like there is indeed now a winning formula. And when people start figuring out what wins, they all aim for it. Because at the end of the day, it is a competition and you're in it to win it. But perhaps it loses some of that raw personal expression that I so dearly value in this hobby. Now, I don't consider myself a good or great painter from any technical standpoint. My hands are shaky, my eyes are cloudy, and quite frankly, I am impatient when it comes to painting. But that's not the point. I paint minis from the heart, genuinely, and I enjoy expressing myself in this way immensely. It is my therapy, my meditation. So then the question becomes, if all the best painters in the world are gravitating towards a similar painting style, is that because it is the peak of the art form, or is it the style that the system currently rewards? I went away and sat there with some friends at AdeptiCon to talk about this, because I felt that I needed to really get this off my chest. Some of these people had entered Golden Demon themselves and looked at me like an absolute madman, and fair enough. But many agreed that there was something missing, something that we couldn't quite put our finger on. And the word I kept coming back to was soul. It lacked emotional depth for me, and I know I'm not the only one who felt it. And this is where it gets interesting for me, because standing there, looking into the cabinets, I realized what I love about this hobby is almost the opposite of that. It's imperfection. I love mood, grit, atmosphere, storytelling, weird characterful choices, kit bashes. I like a squad to look like it's lived in the Underhive for 30 years, realism, a limited color palette. I like models that look like they exist in an actual world, not just under a spotlight. It's almost like the stuff on display was akin to modern pop music. Perfectly produced, perfectly engineered, clean as a whistle. Catchy, but not for me. I'm personally drawn to something a bit more raw and gritty, a bit more human. And maybe that's why Grimdark has hit so hard for me over the years. Because it's messy, it's imperfect, it's expressive, and it has, to want for a better word, soul. It's more akin to John Coltrane or Miles Davis for me. It feels real. And to be very clear, Golden Demon isn't the problem. That's just one end of this massive hobby. It represents technical excellence, perfection, precision, control, and mastery of all techniques. And that is valuable. It pushes the whole hobby forward. But it's not the only way to paint. And I think sometimes many people in this hobby look to Golden Demon and they go, okay, that's what good looks like. When actually, it's just one version of it. So yeah, Golden Demon did not blow me away in the way that I had expected. But it did do something very interesting. It made me realize what I actually value in this hobby. And it made me appreciate that this space is way bigger than just perfect. And it's not that Golden Demon isn't art. It's just a very specific kind of art. And I think this hobby is better when there is room for all of it.